My name's Steve and I love people who make things.
You might need to take off your trousers, and we see...
A number of times people have asked me to take off my trousers in a workshop hand. They sit at the heart of our communities, spreading wealth across the country.
I look forward to Mondays.
I love Mondays too.
And I'm going to die here. I'm never going to retire.
The isolation is great. No crowds apart from the tourists and sheep.
And the occasional podcaster like me. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
These are uncertain economic times. Keep our manufacturers alive and we'll thrive.
We all learn how to do everything here because there's so few of us left.
It is becoming a little harder to get young kids out of college that want to get their hands dirty and learn some of these very traditional art forms.
Join me as we compile a list of the greatest items made in the UK and hear stories from inside our factories.
My father has a phrase, he said, you should plan like you're going to live forever and live like you're going to die tomorrow, which I think is a very good way of looking at it.
We need you to live much longer than that, Martin. Welcome to the factory next door and welcome to Princess Risborough in Buckinghamshire. On an absolutely scorching June day. For a Yorkshire lad who gets warm when it hits the teens, I am melting today. But the sweat is going to be worth it because today you and I are celebrating a really iconic product. One that I think I would recognise from this silhouette alone because I used to sit on this eating my dinner as a child in the 1980s. It is the Ercol dining chair. I'm going to get out of the baking sun. You have a listen to what's coming up in today's show.
I can't understand a way that would be a more modern way of making this. He was quite a disruption in the furniture making industry at that time.
How do you do a timeless design? How do you create a timeless design?
You are putting the timber through a huge amount of stress by compressing it around the bend.
I'm now a bit stressed watching them.
It'll be fine. I think if we didn't do it in the mid-2000s, we probably wouldn't be around. It's all about teamwork. They've got to do it at the same time. So they're just, they go.
Oh my word, that looks amazing.
Oh yeah.
A man's walking around with ice lollipops.
I'll get mine later. It'll go everywhere. I'm Henry Tadros. I'm the chairman of Ercol Furniture, and I'm the fourth generation of the business.
You've come and said hello in the boardroom, which is great, but what I love is actually the view from the boardroom, because you look out over the factory, and what's striking is how open it is.
Yeah, high ceilings, huge amount of windows. We just want a really nice, open, airy space to work in. I feel like the furniture is quite calm, and trying to have an environment which is kind of similar to work in is also a great piece to have.
What I notice when we visit all the different factories across the country is often they're working with legacy buildings. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of workarounds and jimmying in machines here and kind of elements there, and you kind of often have little rabbit warren holes going from one department to another. That is clearly not the case here.
No, we had that from 1920 to about 1999. We had a building exactly like you described on the side of the hill in East Wycombe. We wanted to build our own factory, and having a major statement at that time when globalization was going on, everyone was going to the Far East or closing down their businesses in Wycombe, and we built this 16,000 square metre factory, very state-of-the-art, modern, exactly how we wanted it.
Did it ever cross your mind that you might lose some of the magic by leaving your home?
No. It's far the better place to work, and far the better place to make furniture in.
Hearing protection zone is. Do I put my earplugs in there?
Face up.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're in the factory now. Here you can really see the really high ceilings, the beautiful skylight going all the way down, and then we've got the big windows all the way down on the other side as well.
It is exceedingly light in here, isn't it? Really, really bright.
There's around 70 people who are making furniture on the factory floor. 4 different main areas. You've got your stores, where we store all the timber, machine shop, and then you've got the assembly shop and the finishing department, further areas. It's meant to be a kind of a conveyor belt of furniture through the factory to the end doors where it goes out the back.
And what are we looking at here? There's a gentleman with a big forklift truck moving wood around.
They are dim parts. dimensional parts, and those particular ones are rails.
Did you say a dim part?
Dim part.
That's a bit mean on it.
I know. They are beautiful pieces of 100-year-old timber that we cut down and make into the bits, and they're the life source of the furniture. Basically, everything we do will come out of these dim parts.
Where does this wood come from?
So a mixture. We have ash and we have oak in here. The oak is all from southern Europe. Our sawmills are in northern Italy, and the timber comes from around there. The ash is either FSC ash from Switzerland, or we're doing a major drive for grown in Britain timber. So that is ash grown in Britain. We've been working with the Forestry Commission and the Grown in Britain not-for-profit organisation that is promoting the use of British forest lands. They are helping us find the supply chain, because we need quite a bit of ash and you need it processed in a certain way, and it takes a long time. So once it's processed into into plank, it will then take a year for every inch of thickness to dry out. So there's a huge lead time on getting this sorted.
Wow. Has it been an issue getting British timber previously?
Yeah. So we used British timber from when we started in 1920 to 1988. Dutch Elm Disease stopped our use of British timber then, and then we moved to America to buy elm and beech, and then that Dutch Elm Disease got rid of that. Then we moved to Europe. Then we moved to ash in Europe, and we could never really get the price or the quantity that we needed from the UK, because the sawmill infrastructure had gone with Dutch Elm Disease. So we've had to work with giving them some of our best-selling designs that they know over the next year they need to buy £500,000 worth of ash to fulfill that, and so it kind of primes the pump a little bit. Then they can buy the machines that will mean that they can then bring the price down to a comparable level that it is with Europe. We're sitting in the boardroom,
surrounded by oil paintings.
Yeah, oil paintings, and a lovely charcoal painting there by quite a famous artist I've forgotten his name of. But the two right ones are the Old Man, aka Lucian R. Ercol, so the original founder, my great-grandfather. Next to him is Lucian B. Ercol, his son. And then over there you've got Lucian again with Barry, his brother, sitting in front of the that picture of Lucian. And then, me and my dad aren't going to get portraits taken of us.
That was my next question. It's like, where's yours?
I don't want an oil paint. But we had a really nice picture with my son, who was quite young at the time, with two of us sitting in front of a love seat in front of that picture. And then 5 generations of Tadros Ercolanis in one picture.
That's very sweet. Tell me about the Old Man then.
Well, I never met him because he died in 1978 or so. But he was a massive personality. He was an Italian immigrant, moved over to Walthamstow with the Salvation Army in 1890. He did 7 years worth of night school furniture drawing classes at the Shoreditch Technical Institute down in East London. And then slowly kind of came into the furniture world, commuting from Walthamstow over to Wycombe in the 1910s, and worked with a company called Frederick Parker that became Parker Knoll, then worked with Goms, which became G-Plan. And then he felt like he wanted to set up his own business in 1920. He was quite a disruption in the furniture making industry at that time. Really fascinating person by all accounts. I'm very sad I never got to know him.
You get a real sense of the size of the factory walking from one end to the other.
Yeah, so I saw this before we put everything in here, and it's absolutely massive. When you look at the space without all the buildings and everything in there, it's huge. So we're going to go in here.
Oh, okay. Oh, so a little room off the main open area. Tell me what we're looking at here.
So we're in the steam bending shop. We're going to watch Cam and Mark bend a evergreen bow. Evergreen is a chair that we designed, my great-grandfather designed back in the 1950s. Basically, we've got green timber, ash, which has been steaming in the retort for the last hour.
So just to interrupt there, because what did you call these?
Retort.
Retort?
Yeah, steam retort.
Steam retort, and these look like giant cylinders full of steam?
Full of steam, yeah.
Okay, it looks like it gets hot in there.
It's full of timber, which has been steamed. This is how we mass-produced and industrialised steam bending back in the 1940s, where we had to make 100,000 for kitchen chairs for the utility furniture movement. we kind of worked out how you do loads of steaming at one time. So this is a very bespoke version of just showing one bend, but the machines behind us are the machine bendings where you do 6 Windsor chair bows at one time. We're going to watch the guys. Okay, so Mark now, he's taken out
Look
the
at that. He's just opened the, I forgot the name of them already.
steam retort.
Steam retort. He's just opened the steam retort and all the wood is lined up there.
It's all flat, straight. He's just said it's hard, so we're probably going to see one that might be a bit difficult to do. You never know what's in timber, so it's always, every single piece of wood is different to the other one.
Presumably this is a frame, this is a metal frame that they're going to bend the wood around.
So yeah, they've made sure that there's no where for the timber to kind of expand out. This whole frame, it will just compress round when they finally get to do it. It's all about teamwork. They've got to do it at the same time. So they're just, yeah, they go.
Oh my word, that looks amazing.
Oh yeah. So this one hasn't worked.
Hasn't worked.
Hasn't worked. Must have been the grain on the first bend on the left. I think it's pretty much just split. Yeah, so that's just going to go.
So as soon as Mark brought that out, he could kind of tell that the grain wasn't quite working.
Yeah, I mean, we could tell that was going to be difficult, but then you also don't know what's going to be inside the grain, because you see the surface, you don't see the knots and the kind of composition of the grain inside.
So they clamped it up, and when the two of them then went to bend it
Yeah.
into the shape, it cracked effectively.
It cracked.
It just goes to show, though, that when you're dealing with a natural material, it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's not plastic. It's not something you can just kind of stick in a machine.
As well, is that it's always unique. You are putting the timber through a huge amount of stress by compressing it around the bend.
I'm now a bit stressed watching them.
It'll be fine. We'll get this one. So they do it again. They've bent it one way, and now they're just bending it right down. Always doing it together. If you don't do it together, then the pressure will go to the other side, and it'll just crack out. And that's it, bent.
Wow. They have bent it into shape. It is now surrounded by metal.
Mm-hmm.
And how long will you leave it in that kind of metal frame?
It'll go in the oven, 72 degree kiln oven, and that will dry out all the moisture that we put in the bow overnight. And then once it's dried out, it can come out of its contraption, and it can then be machined.
You obviously still do the hand bending.
Yeah.
Because you've just given me a wonderful demonstration.
Yeah.
Why would you sometimes do the hand bending, and why would you do the machine bending?
Yeah, so hand bending is double axis. So that's a double axis bend, which you can't do on a machine, because you're bending it on one axis, then you're bending it on the other axis. All of these you're just bending it around your mold.
I see. So the really complicated bends,
Yeah.
you have to do by hand.
Yeah.
The more simpler bends, you can use the machine to do.
Yeah, single axis bends, because they could be quite difficult bends with the tightness of the curve. Yeah.
Hi, I want to quickly jump in here because I am delighted to say that our show has a new partner, and one with a long history of helping manufacturers optimize their operations. AVEVA is a leader in industrial intelligence. It was founded almost 50 years ago in Cambridge. Today, its software connects and empowers people to improve plant productivity, sustainability, business agility. And if you're interested in manufacturing, which I'm guessing you are if you're hanging out with me, AVEVA's got a newsletter. Do sign up for it. Go to www.aveva.com/factory. I'll put the link in the show notes. My thanks to AVEVA for supporting the factory next door and for supporting our makers. Tell me about your journey. How you got here, sat in. Are we in the Windsor chair?
We're sitting in Windsor
There we go.
chairs, yeah.
Tell me about your journey, sitting here in a Windsor chair.
I came in and I had a year working on the factory floor, did every job down in the factory, did every job roughly every job in the office. I then was an account manager in the southwest of England and started doing the international sales. And then in 2020, I think it was 2021, 2022, my dad kind of slowly stepped back and I took over his role as chairman. And then the following year, I took on most of the creative direction of the business as well.
You've made that sound very easy, but to me it sounds very daunting, taking that on.
Yeah, I mean, I have all the normal self-doubts that most people would have in that kind of role. I have confidence in myself and what I see the vision of the company to be and what I want us to do. And my dad's always been quite a good example. He was such a kind of confident and safe kind of pair of hands, but also pushing. And I remember hearing some colleague outside of the business call him kind of a silent volcano, and how he kind of, and I felt it was just such an interesting kind of way to describe him, that he wants change, but he will slowly bring everyone to get quite sizable change over a period of time.
I love that, silent volcano. What geographical formation would you be?
I'm a small hill at the moment, so I've got a bit of a way to go. He still works with us, but he's been doing it for 50 years. So it's kind of my paltry 14 years is nothing compared to the wealth of experience that we have. Like I have when I can talk to him all the time.
Cameron, how are you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. I was just watching you do the amazing steam bending there.
Yeah.
That looks surprisingly physical and hard work.
It's not always as hard as that when the timber's right. When it dries out quite a lot easier in this weather, so it makes it harder to do, especially the floor's a little bit slippy as well. But
Why did you join?
Ercol. Joined Ercol because first of all I love the manufacturing, like going through the process and being able to start at one end and finish it, take it all the way through. I've also picked up a lot of skills here in different areas. I've been quite versatile in what I do, so I enjoy it. It's good fun, and I'm not a big fan of college, so I thought I'd come straight into work.
Did you always want to do something with your hands?
Yeah, I've always been wanted to do hands-on. I don't think being sat down all day, I lose focus quite a lot. So doing something where I can be hands-on and physical and rotate between what tasks I'm doing is the day goes a lot quicker for me. Yeah, goes a lot quicker.
Alan, thanks for chatting to me.
Nice to meet you, mate. Yeah, nice.
There's lots of little pipes overhead, which look like they're leaking, but I suspect they're intentional.
It's not leaking, it's spraying a fine mist of water. We're humidifying the whole building, so we kept at a level 50% humidity, which is the level of most people's homes. So we try and make sure that the timber is conditioned at the same level of humidity that people will have in their homes, so you won't see massive amounts of movement in solid timber. You've always got to worry about movement with timber.
You do some manufacturing overseas, right?
Yeah, so we make 50% in the UK, and the rest is abroad. We don't do any full upholstery here in the factory. So we work with a few upholstery factories in the UK and Europe, and then we have a kind of work in the Far East with a few suppliers for more kind of veneered products, made to the highest quality, but it's just a slightly different price level. It can talk to a different customer. We're still very proud of it being Ercol, but it's a veneered piece rather than a solid wood piece.
So
we're very open and we talk about it.
Yeah, and actually you list it all on the websites, and you can see very clearly where it's all coming from. You're very, kind of very open about that. It's very evident. You were never tempted to move it all overseas?
So back in 1999 and 2000, when we were moving the factory, my dad said we'll always have to have a factory here in the Chiltern Hills. Basically, we've moved out of Wycombe, just down the road. But and he was talking to another manufacturer at the same point who said, I'm never going to move my manufacturing abroad. I'm always going to be here. And then a month later, they were bust. They went bust, basically. So, and that happened all over Wycombe. People either sold up and moved manufacturing to China, or they kind of continued doing what they did and not finding it very easy. So we built our factory here. We have this huge, wonderful building. But my dad was also very clear that we had to be flexible and kind of like a willow. You kind of bend one way. You have to, we had to start outsourcing because that was the only way that our business was going to survive in the mid-2000s. It's this mix that I think any kind of modern furniture brand has to be able to do. You've got to be able to have different price points. So
and
we've done.
And is that mix basically a key element of you thriving and surviving? Do you think?
Yes, because I think if we didn't do it in the mid-2000s, we probably wouldn't be around. So you had to outsource to get a different customer base. So, the 90s, globalizations, people's trends of what they wanted to buy, IKEA, all sorts of various things, meant that you couldn't just sell a £3,000 cabinet and expect everyone to buy it like they did in the 70s and 80s. Obviously, it wasn't that price, but, relative of how it was. And you had to look at it differently. We've managed over the last 10 to 15 years kind of take back control of our kind of retail market, and are now slowly bringing back people as much towards the factory-made product as we can. And a great kind of example of that was John Lewis. We've got a great collaboration with them. They do have one outsourced collection, but they also have a really great selling collection that we make here in our factory, and it's a premium price point, and it's beautiful furnish, and it works really well with them. And so we know that customer will be prepared to buy it.
Hi, my name's Leo and my dad is Steve, host of this show. People often don't realise he does the factory next door all by himself. The recording, the editing, even the illustrations on Instagram. He's mildly talented, but he still needs a large amount of external validation. I guess as he grows up, he'll learn to be more self-confident like me. But until then, it'd be great if you could star the show on Apple or Spotify. Maybe even leave a nice review. Thanks! I'll let you get back to the show now.
So now we're going to be walking through the loudest bit of the factory, with the loudest machine on right behind us. The 5-axis CNC, the Aries, which is like a double bed. The 5th axis is that kind of angled axis. Massively kind of opened up opportunities to what we were able to do very quickly. There was one part on the chairmaker's chair arm bow but prior to this machine, we had to do 30 different processes. When we got this machine, it comes down to 2 different processes, the one side and then the other side. So it just revolutionized how we machined a lot of parts.
So, and you'll have to excuse my naivety, but you're putting in a piece of wood, and basically this machine will shave it down to the exact shape you want.
Yeah.
And previously it was a much more difficult piece to create.
It's amazingly efficient. It means that we can basically compete with suppliers in China for solid wood chairs for the same price.
A man's walking around with ice lollipops.
I'll get mine later. It'll go everywhere.
No, I won't. Thank you, though. I've got to say, that man with the ice cream, he's bringing a lot of joy to people, I can see here.
So we're now back into the more kind of hand-led machine thing.
Oh, here we go. We've got an amazing chap here, kind of buffing up the wood on a machine. Very nice to meet you, Robert.
45 years.
You've been here 45 years.
I don't look old enough. Yeah.
No, you just stole my next comment there.
All right,
Yeah, ice creams as well.
He's got his ice lolly. You went for the rocket, I saw.
Yeah. Well, that's not much choice left now. I'm the last one to get one. Yeah.
Rocket's a good solid ice lolly.
Fine, it's fine. Yeah. You go back to when I first started at Ercol's.
You were an apprentice.
You were an apprentice.
21 of us started that year. So we had 21 apprentices in the cabinet shop, machine shop, and bandsaw. So we good history of apprentices coming through. Good to see.
Did you know then that you were going to stay all this time?
I'm dyslexic, so it had to be a practical job for me. I wouldn't say I knew I was going to stay all that long, but it's been a good company to work for.
45 years, we've got loads of other 40 years. It's over 2,100 years worth of experience in the business within all of our employees.
And you account for a lot of that?
Not all of it, but a bit of it, yeah.
How do you do a timeless design? How do you create a timeless design?
So, I think it's basically coming back to the basic qualities of the design. And we've done something recently on a new piece that we're launching this August called the Stack Collection. And it's reduction and making it useful. So I don't want anything ornate or kind of, that shouldn't really be in there. The less is better. But the design should be beautiful, should be fit for purpose. So it should be very usable and it's a chair that's really nice to sit on. Should be some comfort. It should be really well made, and there should just be a pleasant kind of harmonious line to it all.
I was really struck by one of the quotes on your website, which says, talking about design, it says, design for comfort, design for function, design for looks. Is that the order of importance here at Ercol? Comfort, function, looks?
I think it's all together. You're going to have a really nice looking chair, but the challenge for everyone is to make that nice looking chair really comfortable, because there's so many nice looking chairs which aren't very comfortable. And then you've got to have the function, because what's the point of making a chair if you can't really use it properly? It doesn't fit under the table properly, or it will break because it's not very well made, or it's a balancing act in trying to make sure you've got all the different levels of the DNA kind of that piece at the right level that you want to make perfect, or what you hope is the perfect chair. This is basically where we do all the chairs in the chair shop, and you will be putting it on your bench and making the particular chair that you're making. I think we're going to go right to the back of the shop, which is where we make the wedge and tenon stools. So wedge and tenon is the classic join for the Windsor chair, the join that you'll see on most Ercol pieces from the 1950s. Hi, John.
Hi there. So tell me about that joint, sorry.
The joint, yeah. So what we're going to see is where the chair leg comes through, and so when Joe's making it up, I'll kind of point it all out to you. Leg comes through the seat, and then you glue it and you wedge it and you smack it down.
And you can see the join on the seat.
So it's a kind of a manufacturing kind of element when you're making it, and then on the pad sander we basically take it off and it becomes a design kind of element when it's all kind of sanded down to being flush. Should we see it?
Hello, Joe. Joe's going to do it for us.
So he's making it look really easy, but it's actually quite difficult, because you've got a round leg with a hole at an angle that you're putting the underframe in, and then putting another round leg in another angle and trying to push it all together.
I started off doing just regular carpentry on site, and then I moved into some more niche stuff, like I did set design and set building, but after that all, I just sort of winded up here.
You can't really make a chair like we're doing here in a better way than this. It's the pinnacle of assembly making. I can't understand a way that would be a more modern way of making this. We can be really high tech and do loads of machining on the machine parts, and we can do stuff on the finishing, but like when you're actually putting together it's just the rawest kind of way to make a chair.
Hello, Graham. Very nice to meet you.
Are you? Excuse me.
What do we do here, Graham?
This is the polishing shop. So we take the furniture in the white, i.e. no polish on it, and then we polish it up to make it look nice and to protect the furniture from people.
Why does it need protecting from people, Graham?
Because of the things on your hands, the tannins and the oils that come out your hands. They don't like wood very much, so they attack it.
I shall be sure to wash my hands. So Graham's gone into his little cubicle.
Yes. Yeah, this is the spray booth. It's a real fine art, because you can't touch this, because then you put like fingerprints and you mess up the lacquer. And it's all about the pressure on the trigger, the distance away from the piece, the speed he's going over it, and about getting that even coat of lacquer all over the piece. Like Graham said, it protects from, spilling a glass of red wine, dirty hands, pens, all sorts of things like children, all that. So it protects from that, because you can like wipe it clean, because it's not going into the timber. But it also protects the piece with the humidity.
As so often is the case looking around this factory, he made that look very, very easy.
Oh yeah, he made it look extremely easy. I know, well, I wasn't even allowed to do this. I could do the staining when I was working in here, but they would never let me on the lacquer, because it's also, you've made the chair, you've put all the value into it, so many people have worked on it, and then if you mess it up at this point, it's a bit of a pain. So this is the final point where it then will go out perfectly afterwards.
What is the thing that keeps you coming in every day, that puts a smile on your face?
I mean, I've always got a smile on my face, so it's.
I can tell that. Okay, what is the thing that actually you really thrive on?
Well, I just love being able to see where we're going to go. There's always mountains of adversaries every year and things that you've got to deal with. Huge responsibility for me to think, okay, what's the next year? What's the next 5 years? What's the next... I mean, I've got the luxury of thinking, what's the next 10, 15 years, 20 years?
Do you need an endless supply of optimism?
Yeah, I'm quite optimistic. I'm always think that, that we can find something that will work, and there's always good days and bad days, but I'm pretty optimistic of where we could go. So yeah.
So am I. I'm very optimistic as well. Henry, thank you so much for what you do here, what you create, and thank you for showing us around. Amazing place.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Into our shed of greatness goes the Windsor dining chair by Ercol. The bending and shaping of that wood, wow, just wow. They use CNC machines to create some of the parts at the start of the process, but honestly, the amount of handwork that goes into crafting those chairs, wow, wow, wow. Just a reminder, if you're on Instagram, say hello at the factory next door. Thanks to everyone who's already voted for the show at the British Podcast Awards. Hugely grateful. I am racing off now because I've got to do the school run. So all that's left for me to say is, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're happy. Until next time, bye. My thanks again to our new partner, AVEVA. They're such a good fit for the show because they're in the business of helping manufacturers, and they've been doing it for more than 50 years. A leader in industrial intelligence, AVEVA's software connects and empowers people to improve plant productivity, sustainability, and business agility. Just a reminder that AVEVA's got a newsletter, and if you're interested in manufacturing, please do sign up for it. Go to www.aveva.com/factory. Again, I'm going to put the link in the show notes. My thanks to AVEVA for supporting the factory next door.